Hey guys, welcome to our episode 2 of Oruma Plus One podcast. I am your host Ashish,
And I'm your host, Glenn.
I am Beena Kaithamattom, CRNA.
and today Mrs. Kaithamattom will be sharing us her experience being a CRNA and telling us all about what it takes to be one, what are the experiences, her family experiences, things like so.
All right, so starting off, what is CRNA and what is your experience in that field?
CRNA means it stands for Certified Registered Nurse Anesthetist. Now it's called anesthesiologist. So it's basically like a master's degree. Actually, I did a master's degree in anesthesia, but now it's doctoral. So now it's a doctoral degree in anesthesia. So basically, I was a nurse. So we should have like a bachelor's in nursing with critical care experience like ICU. I think they prefer still, everybody prefer ICU experience, even though you are a flight nurse, you work in a big trauma hospital, but still I think they want some adult intensive care unit experience. So after getting 1 or 2 years of experience, you can apply for this course, and it's like high demanding, and it's not easy to get in. A lot of people are applying, so start to apply for this course. And in Florida we have a couple of schools here, so you apply, then you had to go for a interview process, then of course you had to meet the criteria. Some of the schools they require GRE, should have a high GPA, then you can take some CCRN like a critical care certifications. So after getting everything, because 500 600 applications are coming to each each universities, then they had to scrutinize, then only they call for you interview. So maybe they call like 50. I think when I attended, I heard they call like 50 of candidates, then out of this 50 you sit in front of a like 10 people interview board, and they just select like it. For my class actually only 25 they selected. So out of this 25, the graduating people may be 18. So it's like a challenging, it's like you had to study hard to become, because you are putting somebody to sleep, and it's like a challenging profession, but it's very rewarding.
You're definitely not putting us to sleep. It's very interesting. Fun fact is that Glenn here is actually going to be a CRNA one day. So I'm sure all of the things that you're saying is very helpful. But real quick question: what is your experience in the past? Like you said, get a nursing degree, some ICU experience, and then going to school for becoming a CRNA. What has your experience been like? How many years you worked as a nurse, things like that.
Actually, as an immigrant coming to United States, I came here in my 20s, close to 30. So I went to school late, because to get here, get a job. So but basically for the students nowadays, whoever is in the nursing schools, and once they graduate, they can work in a very well reported hospitals, and you can get like experience from the. I always prefer like challenging experience, not like a regular ICU experience. You should have do like some hearts, like neuro, like challenging situations. So you can work in that kind of ICU. For the students actually to become a nurse, to work in ICU, at least I think they prefer 2 years. So minimum 2 years experience, and you can go for the CRNA school. But for me, I came here, we had to, of course, we had to settle down. We did that. Then, my husband, Sunny went to school to get like, specialization in MRI. So I had to wait because somebody has to, support the family. By the time I have 3 kids also, I still remember the days. My eldest one was tall. My youngest one was only 6 months. So it was really challenging, but I had a good help. Sunny always helped me with everything. My kids, especially Stefina, because she was tall, so she kind of take care of the kids, and I have a help at home, our auntie. So it's like I was able to do it. So for the kids, I will say like for this generation, it's kind of easy because you are in school. Once you become a nurse, go to ICU experience directly, get it, and you can apply for the school.
That is very cool. Like it's usually extremely hard for people to get back into school after they've been in the industry. So that is very awesome.
Yeah, that is really touching. And what do you think is like a typical day in the life as a CRNA, and like what are some like rewarding and like challenges that you face?
It's a very challenging, rewarding profession. Lot of autonomy, like you can do whatever you want to do. Like you are the one telling anesthesia to the patient, you are assessing. Of course, there is because I work like in a hospital, kind of medical supervision. So but still, you are the one doing all the things. You are the one assessing the patient. You are giving anesthesia. I intubate my patient, giving anesthesia, wake them up, giving a report to the PACU, the nurses. So it's like basically I'm by myself. So you should have that kind of confidence to put the patient to sleep. And it's like I really, like I really like my job. I really love it because when they come, when you go and see the patients, they always worry about anesthesia more than the surgery. They're like, oh, you are the one from anesthesia? I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. Then they will be like, oh, you are the one going to put me to sleep? I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think the fear, so we had to talk to them. And, nowadays, all the medications are so safe. Like, like I always say, like, a lot of the people say, oh, the thing you can get into an accident in the car accident, like when you drive. So it's like that. So all the medications are safe, but we don't know how the people are responding to the medications. Each one is different. So that's a problem. Sometimes very simple surgery can turn out to be like, bad, like very regular, So you should be like, to be ready for anything at any time. That's the thing. Yeah, so we just go, we have scheduled cases because I work in a hospital. So, the previous night I know what I'm going to do. So you have like a mental calculation in case of anything, like complex surgeries, you should be ready for that. And the main key is like, you should be ready for anything. Like if something goes bad, you should be prepared to deal with this patient, even it is simple procedure. So assessing the patient, taking them to the OR. If it is a general case, according to the kind of anesthesia, sometimes you intubate the patient, sometimes, sedations, whatever. So you do that, monitoring the vital signs, and you are the spokesperson for this patient because you are the one standing on the head of the patient. But anything goes wrong, even the surgeon nicks something, if anything happens, bleeding, you are the one dealing with that because you are the one giving blood products. So it's kind of you are the one controlling all the things in the OR, kind of, So you should be ready for that. Then after the procedure done, wake the patient up, giving them to the PACU, the recovery nurses. Then it goes on, like, and in hospitals we work with everything, like operation rooms, like electrophysiology labs, endoscopy, MRI, you name it, anything you can do. That's the beauty of this profession, like whatever you want to do, you can do it.
Could you tell me a, could you tell me a person going into CRNA? I'm kind of speaking for my friend here. Um, she's a little afraid of blood, and I know this is pretty much intensive care unit and surgeries. Um, Someone told me that CRNAs, they just administer anesthesia, and that is it. Uh, in your day-to-day life as a CRNA, do you experience blood and gore and things? Maybe nurses shouldn't be nurses if they dislike gore or whatever. Someone shouldn't pursue nursing if that's the case. But in your experience, you wouldn't recommend that, would you?
If she, I mean, that means she's not in the nursing school, right?
No, she's not.
Oh no,
No.
because I don't know. Like some people, that's what I said. They cannot see the blood. They cannot take care of. Then I don't know about that because this is the profession. Sometimes when I do trauma surgeries, it's full of blood in the OR. Even the surgeon's feet is wet with the blood.
Oof.
It's like, and we are transfusing multiple, like 20, 40, 30 units of blood products. So it's a bloody surgery if it comes to like trauma. But first to become a CRNA, you should be a RN,
Yep.
registered nurse. So anyway, by the time she can decide she can be a good nurse, then she can decide about the CRNA score.
Okay, so as an aspiring CRNA, what do you recommend I do?
So after you become a RN, you had to go and work in ICU. Should be like a challenging place, like don't work in a regular ICU without anything. You had to deal with all multiple drips and everything, because sometimes when something happen, you had to start all the drips and everything. So it's better to be work with the sick patients. You get the experience, you get the like a thinking process. It can change you, because if it is a regular routine kind of cases, you don't think much. But if the situation change, you think about it, then you deal with that. So start working in a critical care, really like a trauma or very cardiac ICU, start working there. Then of course you can come and shadow me, because I am your neighbor, or work. And so then you get an idea what we do, because imagine some of them, they're thinking they're just sitting there doing nothing, but it's not. We are the one doing everything, the CRNAs. So come and shadow, then start applying to different schools, not only one, and find out there. Some of the schools require all the different things, because it's a doctor 3.5 years, and make sure you cannot work when you are in the school, because you have exams every day. You have to deal with it's like a tough course, so you should be prepared that, like so yeah, you had to save some money for that. And so you should be, yeah, come and shadow, and whatever requirements you had to meet and apply multiple universities, so definitely you get it.
Glenn, looks like you already have the connection set up right in place to be a successful CRNA. Around that, I did have a question. Being that this job is very challenging and it's in a very fast-paced environment, in a very critical situation, what is the regional pay like? I know between different states it's different, but what's the regional pay kind of like?
Yeah, it's like all depends upon where you live and what kind of hospitals you choose. Sometimes rural hospitals, they are paying more. Of course, at a state to state it's different. I will say starting around anywhere from 190 to up to like 240, 250. It's depend upon how you do. If you do specialities, you get paid more. If you do on calls, you get paid more. If you work nights, where I am working, actually some of the CRNAs, they work 7 days nights, then they're off for 16 days. They get paid, I don't know, really good money. So, but you
Wow.
had to work like 14 hours and 16-hour shift in the 7 days, then you are off for 18 days. So it's all depend upon, yeah, I'll say like around 180, 190 to 230, 250 range.
Wow.
Yeah.
That I'm definitely interested now.
I think Beena just told us that she's really rich. Um, on a side note, I do want to segue into asking about personal experiences. Things that may be traumatic or very good. You can pick either or. Something that you have, sticks out to you over the course of your career as a CRNA.
I still remember after I started work, like after 1 year or something, I was doing a case in the EP lab. So it's like the atrial fibrillation, like irregular heartbeat. They are just doing like ablation on that patient. The patient was in 50s, very active lady. I talked to her, I don't know, half an hour, because something happened and we were late for the surgery. So right after starting the case, I think after half an hour, I can see a big difference in the blood pressure and everything. So I'm like, something is wrong in this case. So of course they know that what happened. So what happened actually, like they put a hole in the heart. So that means the patient started bleeding. Right away we find out the reason, and the patient was intubated. So of course the airway is protected. So I called for help. They all came. Then we started CPR. That day I realized the American Association, they changed ABC to ACB, right? Like airway, circulation and breathing. I see the effect. Because the patient is intubated, so of course the airway is protected, so patient is on the ventilator. But during the code, we started doing the CPR, and we had to transfer this patient from the EP lab to the open heart surgery. So we had to transfer the patient to a stretcher and we had to go to the open heart. During all this time, one of my attending, he was doing the CPR. We never stopped it. Even when we are pushing the patient out from the cath lab to the open heart, we were doing the CPR. So of course the patient ended up with open heart. They fixed the problem, and after 2 days I went and see the patient, because I want to see, and because I want to know what she underwent during the cord situation, because I turned off the gas. So during this code situation, she's not on any medication, like, because she's coding. And the one thing we were like thinking what is going to happen, because if something happened, the neuro response can be not that good, because if anything happened, the blood circulation is not there, because it's like a little bit time takes from there to go into the open heart and opening the patient up. But the patient went home without any issues, like, because we find out during all these things happen, the patient's airway and circulation, we were pumping up all the bloods we are giving, and it's perfusing, so the patient have no neuro deficits. Patient went home very fine. So that was in the beginning as a CRNA, that was an eye opener for me, like, you should be act immediately, and you should have that thing, like, in your brain, like, okay, this is the situation, I had to deal with that. So we had like a big meeting, and they all like, thanking us, the anesthesia department. Patient went home really good. So that was one of my experience in the beginning. And of course, every day, not every day, like, once in a while you get this kind of situation. But yeah.
Gee, it's I'm sure it's super stressful experiencing all that, but at the same time, it seems super rewarding as a CRNA professional, being able to save someone's life in a critical situation. I'm sure it's like, extremely rewarding for you.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes it's always nice to see. Like sometimes when I give the report to the to the PACU nurses, the patient is like, "Is it done?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's done," because we give like a word said. It's so like they don't think they forget about all the stuff, and they wake up in the recovery. They ask like, "Is it done?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's done."
Glenn, did you have any questions?
Yes, I actually did. So, spending all this hard work at work, and I was just wondering, how is it like spending time with your family? Do you get enough time to spend with your family, and like the amount of days off? Is it really flexible?
Yeah, this job, it's really flexible. It's you are the one choosing what you want to do, because I work in a hospital. I just work only 40 hours. I don't take on calls. I don't usually work weekends. So it's all depend upon how you choose, like because I had, of course, this job paid almost 3 months vacation, like 11 12 weeks of vacation. And if you want to make extra money, of course you can go and work also, but at the same, it's all depend upon. Some of my colleagues, they make 500,000, but they're working
Oh boy.
like everywhere, they are working like locums, going different hospitals and all. So it's all depend upon you, like if you want like a very cool just like 40 hours, you can choose it, because usually I work for 10-hour shifts. But sometimes I had to choose, select like if there is any, like shortage or anything, I had to work 12-hour shift once in a while or 8-hour shift. But it's all depend upon, because here nowadays the anesthesia, like you can see a lot of same day surgery centers are opening up, the dentist office is opening up, so you have job everywhere. So
So job outlook is very,
it's
very
like,
open. Okay,
yeah,
it's good.
so
Okay.
it's depend upon you where you want to work and what kind of job you want to do, what kind of hours you want to work. So it's all depend upon you. And specialities, I said, if you want to make more money, go to specialities, open heart or whatever, pediatrics and all. So yeah.
As a CRNA, do you see there being shortages where you're called in an emergency situation from other
Yes.
hospitals or?
Yeah, because even lot of places is shortage now,
Okay.
because even where I am working, lot of locums, they get paid more, and they just take 3 months or 6 months contract, and they can come and work, and they ask us to work extra, like because it's shortage everywhere.
That's where you get on the job outlook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, it's really shortage. And of course, as I said, every place, like if there's a trauma comes, you get called into the ER, emergency department. You have to take care of them, the airway, like intubate or whatever. So it's like everywhere, it's like a lot of job opportunities out there.
Yeah, that's good. That's good for a aspiring CRNA, whether it be nursing student or someone who's interested in this. That's very good news. Not that people being hurt, but it's a very much of a saving grace. Being a CRNA, being able to be there, and being able to help all these people. That I'm sure it's extremely rewarding experience. With that, I would like to thank you for your time and offering to give us all this. Would you have any last words for students who are nurses or high school students who want to approach this career path?
I always say if somebody goes to medical profession, they should have like a sympathy for the patients first, because money making is not the thing. So you should have like a, if somebody comes, because whoever patient comes, they are in a situation facing a lot of issues, like they go through a lot of things. So you should have like a mind, or you had like a sympathy to listen to them what they're talking. You should have like a, like you should be sympathy to the patients first. Then I always say, if you are able to, like, it's all depend upon you, like you are able to deal with the situation by yourself, because as I said, it's a challenging, I always say it's a adrenaline rush situation. So you should be like able to, of course, the course, because I went to Advent Health University, they have like a lot of their own hospitals. So I had a good clinical experience because I never go outside from the Advent Health. You get everything there. So if you are able to deal with this situation, and some of them, they're like, oh, I cannot do, then it's not for you. But as I said, like, you are able to have like that kind of willing to deal with all the situation, it's for you. So I have no negative, regret to be a CRNA. I love my profession. It's really rewarding, of course, paid good, lot of, vacations. I have nothing to say like, negative. I love it. So
Thank you for like bringing the whole nursing caring back to it, because when I think CRNA, I just think all action, like okay, time to go, all the time. But the core values of nursing is giving, caring,
yes, it is the,
serving the
I always
patient.
say medical profession is that whatever you are, a nurse or doctor, whatever, if you don't have that sympathy to the patient, you are not for that. Because
Yeah.
they're like, anxious about the surgery.
Because it's not fulfilling
Yeah.
otherwise.
So
If you're
yeah,
just caring
you have
just
to
solely
talk
for
to
the
them.
money, if you're playing the numbers game, you might not enjoy it. I think the core value of nursing being is serving the patients and caring for them. That's how it's rewarding for most of the successful nurses who enjoy their profession, like you.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Kaithamattom, and thank you for watching our Orma Plus One podcast. We are signing off.
Right.
Thank,
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
thank you.